our 7 founders plus Caroline Hall were recognized. And in order to be nominated to the Hall of Fame or be accepted into the Hall of Fame, you have to have made national or international contributions, either to the Grange or to the state, the nation, or the world, in Grange activities or in public service or government or science, humanities, any field of study. And you must not be living. So, in the 3rd year, we had Eugene Eckert from Illinois was inducted, and Charles Gardner from Massachusetts. Other inductees are James Wright from California, Leonard Roan from Pennsylvania, Oliver Wilson from Illinois. Last year, virtually, we inducted John Scott, past National Master, and Luther Snyder, past priest analyst, both from Pennsylvania. I just want to brag a little on Pennsylvania. They were recognized in a very nice program as part of the kickoff of Pennsylvania's 150th anniversary celebration. And their entire families were invited. There were John Scott's 3 sons were present with their families, and Luther Snyder's children, who some of them are here tonight. So if your state has an inductee to the Hall of Fame, feel free to recognize those people on your state level also. Tonight we have a couple more inductees, and for the lecture, Chris Hamp is going to read their biographies.
Worthy President, Sister Betsy, brothers and sisters, friends of the Grange. It is indeed my honor this evening to read 2 biographies of 2 gentlemen that have been accepted into the Hall of Fame. The first is Albert S. Goss. As a young boy, Albert S. Goss moved with his family to Spokane, Washington in 1889. In 1907, he married Mindy Hand, and they had 3 children. Early in his adult life, he was a bookkeeper and was involved in milling, general farming, a telephone business, and a country store. Albert S. Goss was a member of Finley Grange number 414 in Benton County, Washington. And in 1920, his Grange resume begins in earnest, with his being named manager of the Grange Cooperative Wholesale in Seattle. In 1922, Brother Goss was elected the 7th master of the Washington State Grange and served until 1933. Thanks to the leadership of Brother Goss and the Washington State Grange, the Washington State Public Utility District, PUD Initiative number 1 in Washington State, passed in 1930, bringing with it public ownership of power and thus busting one of the largest trusts of all time, the Power Trust. It took 6 years to get initiative number 1 on the ballot, and during this time, Goss revived and rebuilt the Washington State Grange, which enjoyed gains in membership due primarily to the Grange proposing to do battle for the people. In 1924, Goss was elected to the National Grange Executive Committee and served as chair from 1929 to 1933. From 1927 to 1933, Goss served as the director of the Federal Land Bank at Spokane. And in 1933, President Roosevelt appointed him Land Bank Commissioner, a position he held until 1940. In 1933, Brother Goss met with President Roosevelt and urged construction of the Grand Coulee Dam. He also helped lead farmers to increase food production and to assist in the war effort. Often he was called in for consultation by the White House, as well as by government department heads. Brother Goss was one of the keenest students of economics and finance in the country, and a pioneer in the federal land bank field. As land bank commissioner, he was in charge of the largest system of cooperative credit in history, and will always be remembered as a friend by thousands of distressed farmers. Goss helped to formulate a program of cooperative production credit, which later became the model for the Farm Credit Administration. In addition, he was active in helping to solve world agricultural problems and assisted in the organization of the International Federation of Agricultural Producers. In 1941, Albert S. Goss was elected the 14th Master of the National Grange, and was serving in this position when he collapsed and died on October 25, 1950, after finishing an address on the role of the nation's farmers in American mobilization to the 19th Annual Herald Tribune Forum, an annual public meeting for the discussion of subjects of current interest in New York City. Under National Master Goss's guidance, the Grange reached its peak in membership and achieved international prominence. In 1943, with Brother Goss's leadership, the National Grange purchased and took occupancy of the National Headquarters building at 744 Jackson Place Northwest in Washington, D.C. In 1947, Brother Goss unveiled the Community Service Contest, underwritten by the Sears Roebuck Foundation. And in 1949, worthy Master Goss appointed Brother Wib Justy as the National Grange's first director of youth activities. Additionally, Goss worked on President Truman's advisory board for the Office of War Mobilization and Reconversion in Washington, D.C., was a director for Rural Scouting, a committeeman on mobilization policy for the National Securities Resources Board, and served as vice chairman of the National Highway Users Conference. Brother Albert S. Goss was commonly referred to as a man of distinction, and wherever Goss went, he left things stronger. Brother Albert S. Goss. The second biography I'd like to share with you this evening is for Ira E. Shea. Ira E. Shea joined Malo Grange number 679 in Ferry County, Washington in December 1921, and it didn't take him long for him to make his mark. In 1923, Ira was a first-time delegate to the Washington State Grange Convention and was later that year elected Master of the Ferry County Pomona Grange. In 1924, then State Master Albert S. Goss appointed Shea as a Washington State Grange Deputy Master, and in 1925, Brother Shea organized his first Grange. As a Deputy Master for the Washington State Grange, Shea received $5 per day and 5 cents per mile for the use of his Model T Ford. On December 23, 1928, Ira married Jenny Betts, and together they traveled many miles throughout Washington and then several other states organizing Granges. Together, Ira and Jenny had 2 sons. In 1932, Brother Shea was appointed a National Grange Deputy by then National Master Louis J. Taylor. And in 1939, he was elected lecturer of the Washington State Grange, a position he held for 7 years. Brother Shea is quoted as saying, "My first love was the actual work of organizing a new Grange, and organized new Granges was what Ira E. Shea did it better than maybe anyone else in the history of the Grange. Overall, Brother Shea organized 143 Granges in 6 states: Washington, Idaho, Montana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Arizona. 135 of those Granges were organized between 1925 and 1942, with 22 of them in 1930 alone. Between 1976 and 1980, he attended 50th anniversaries of Granges whose charters bore his name. Now that is a legacy of success. Brother Shea was one of the key leaders of the public power movement that adopted the P3 initiative in Washington State in 1930, and then continued to get the Bonneville Project Act signed by President Roosevelt in 1937, bringing light to rural residents. 50 years later, in 1987, and just over a week before his death, he received the Power Pioneer Award from the Federal Bonneville Power Administration in recognition of his efforts to see electrical power developed in the Northwest and made available to rural customers. In 1964, Brother Shea was awarded the Washington State Grange Leader of the Year Award. And in 1983, Shea wrote his autobiography, The Grange Was My Life, which he closes with the following. Today, the Grange faces its greatest challenge, and by the same token, its greatest opportunity. We must not falter. My main purpose in writing this book, indeed, it is my earnest prayer that some young reader or readers will be inspired to take my place and go out and tell the Grange story, just as it is. Ira E. Shea. She says, keep going. Brothers and sisters, this evening has become a favorite event at our National Grange Conventions, and it is indeed a pleasure to watch the Granges grab a hold of the Quilts of Valor program around the country and to embrace providing quilts and making presentations to our veterans and active duty service personnel around this country. In 2017, I introduced this program at the National Convention in Spokane, and we have done it every year since, with the exception of last year, of course, when we could not meet together. So from Washington and Idaho and Montana down to Texas and Oklahoma and over across to Massachusetts and back to Nebraska, there's every day I see pictures and clippings and information from the states that are putting together Quilts of Valor and making presentations, not only at their state conventions, but in their local Grange halls, in little communities all across, doing what we do best, right? It's serving a need and making sure that we're active and making our communities stronger. So tonight, on this eve of Veterans Day, this is the perfect timing. And before I get started any farther, I just want to make sure that everybody received a lapel pin as they came in this evening, and would hope that you would change it over to tomorrow's jacket as well for Veterans Day. So without further ado, the first first action this evening is going to be the presentation of the colors by the Augusta, Leonard, Whitehill, American Legion Post 189, and the Augusta Memorial Post 6746, Veterans of Foreign Wars. At this point, I'd like to introduce Mr. John Noonan. Mr. Noonan was a sonar technician on a destroyer in the Navy from 1969 to 1973, and since his retirement, he plays trumpet and bugle at different veterans events here in the Wichita area. Mr. Noonan is going to play the service anthems. When your service anthem is played, if you would rise and then be seated at the end, and we'll go through all 5. Actually, let's do, while he's getting set up here, if we have all the veterans and active duty personnel in the room, please stand and be recognized as a group to begin with, please. Thank you for your service. Next this evening, I'd like to introduce Lisa Connor. Lisa is the director of the Kansas Quilts of Valor Foundation, and Lisa's going to let us know a little bit about the Quilts of Valor Foundation. And I'd just like to say before she gets up here, that over the last 5 years, it's been a wonderful relationship that we've enjoyed with the Quilts of Valor as we've traveled around the country. Every state and their folks have been very helpful in making sure that we cross the T's and dot the I's and get this done correctly. So with that, Lisa?
Yes. Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. When Chris got in touch with me, I had to ask her what the Grange was about. So I've been educated a little bit. Is that better? Again, thank you for having me here. As I said before, when Chris contacted me, I had to ask her about the Grange. So I've been educated a little bit about the Grange, and I'm glad to have learned about it. I am from a farming community here in Kansas, so I feel very honored to be here tonight. For those of you who don't know anything about Quilts of Valor, it was started in 2003 by Catherine Roberts when her son was deployed to Iraq. At that time, she was seeing soldiers coming back that were dealing with things that we had no idea. Post-traumatic stress syndrome, injuries, being away from their families. She decided to create Quilts of Valor, and the organization has grown and is now a nationwide organization. Our mission statement is the mission of Quilts of Valor Foundation is to cover service member and veterans who have been touched by war with comforting and healing quilts of valor. Many of these people served overseas or in a combat situation, but we also have those people who serve stateside, be it creating the tanks, the ammunition, the guns, and the one that especially touches my heart is the chaplains. They may never meet these people, but they do meet the families and are sometimes their first contact with the families. Since Quilts of Valor started in 2003, there have been over 286,000 Quilts of Valor awarded. This year alone, there have been 21,000 quilts awarded. Last year, because of COVID, things were slowed down quite a bit, so we're picking up speed and getting things taken care of. The QOV, or the Quilt of Valor, is an expression of gratitude from a grateful nation to those who have served, and it's a tangible way to say thank you.
Lisa, as a thank you for your time tonight and for what your organization does here in the Wichita area and around the state of Kansas, we would like to, on behalf of the National Grange, like to present you with this roll of batting that will make several more quilts for deserving veterans and active duty service personnel here in Kansas. So thank you very much for what you do. I checked with her beforehand to make sure she wasn't driving some tiny little. All right. The next step is we're gonna present some quilts, And the youth are going to assist when the veteran's name is called out. A youth member will escort them up to the front, and then they will receive their quilt. Lisa is going to present them with an official Quilts of Valor certificate, and then Kimber Newman is going to assist with providing them with a thank you from Aunt Mandy's 4th grade class. So that's kind of, then we'll have them all lined up here. Once we get all of them up, we'll have them do the usual 180-degree about face to show everybody those beautiful backs of all the quilts. So with that, the first veteran this evening is Larry Neal Shafer. Brother Shafer is from Cherryvale Grange number 221 in Oklahoma. Served in the Army from 1958 to 1963. And if I understand this right, this is his granddaughter that's escorting him up front. Alan Stuart Thomsen of Thomsen Grange number 352 in Oklahoma. Served in the Army, serves in the Army, 2000 to current. Richard Tennissen, Bainville Range number 1810, Kansas. Served in the Air Force 1968 to 1972. Harlan Bartel, Fayetteville Grange, number 1810, served in the Air Force, 1971 to 1975. John Noonan, Navy, 1969 to 1973. Gregg, Navy, 1968 to 1971. Mindy Peter, Army Reserves, early 1990s. to 95. 1956 to 1960. My notes say that Hump flew airplanes. Durflinger, Navy, 1962 to 1992. And he's the commander of Augusta, Leonard, Whitehill, American Legion Post 189. Heinrich, Army, 1965 to 2000. Also with the Augusta, Leonard, Whitehill, American Legion Post 189. Air Force, 1975 to 1979. I was a member of the Augusta, Leonard, Whitehill American Legion Post 189. Lisa Snyder, Marine Corps, 1986 to 1993. She's the commander of the Augusta Memorial Post 6746, Veterans of Foreign Wars. James Owsley, Army, 1964 to 1972, with the Augusta Memorial Post 6746, Veterans of Foreign Wars. All right, how about one more round of applause? And then before you're seated, if you would do an about face and show everybody the facts.
Yeah.
There will be an opportunity for photos after we close this evening, so we can we'll catch more photos out in the hallway afterwards. If you want to take any. I've got a few thank yous, and then we're going to close this evening. John Noonan has agreed to play God Bless America for us on his trumpet. He's going to play one time through, and then the second time through, if you want to sing along, that would be great. While he's getting ready to go, thank yous this evening are for the Augusta, Leonard, Whitehill, American Legion Post 189, and the Augusta Memorial Post 6746, Veterans of Foreign Wars, for presenting the colors this evening. Mr. John Noonan for sharing his trumpet with us this evening. Bonnie Merritt of Oklahoma, Renee Caldwell and the Quilt Group at the Forest and Grange in Colorado, Ginny Mangel in Pennsylvania, Naomi Fletcher from Michigan, Emily Culver and the Quilt Group at the Florida Grange in Illinois. Thank you for the quilts. We wouldn't be able to do this without the quilts. And each of those folks were involved in making the quilts that you saw this evening. Also thanks to Lisa Connor for taking time this evening to join us and representing the Kansas Quilts of Valor Foundation. And last but not least, Randy Farmer. Randy is one of those folks that you have to have on the ground to do your legwork for you sometimes. And I tell you what, she did a fabulous job of making this evening come together. So please thank Randy.
Thank you so much, Chris, and all your helpers and all of our honorees for coming tonight. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for spending the evening with us. It's really a highlight of our convention.